I normally go to Bangkok at least once a year, sometimes more. When my daughter was young and had a problem with her feet and we were seeing a doctor in Bangkok, it was once a week or once every 2 weeks or once a month or once every 3 months. This year it's been 4 times. The first time to apply for UK passports for my kids, the second time to pick the passports up, the third time to watch a football match, and the fourth time to meet some friends from Canada who were touring Southeast Asia and were in Bangkok for a few days. I didn't take a camera on any of the 4 trips this year, but every time I go to Bangkok I learn something new and I have a few tips and recommendations that might be useful to other people. I've always been lazy about getting around in Bangkok and I've just used taxis. They're quite cheap, but there are problems. Firstly, if you're a foreigner, some drivers refuse to use their meter. They will just give you a price, and that will be at least twice as much as the metered fare. The second problem is that they just refuse to go to certain places, and this was a major issue when I was taking my daughter to see a doctor in Bangkok years ago. The treatment involved putting her legs in full-length plaster casts so she couldn't walk. I was carrying a young child and luggage and I was trying to get to the hospital. I'd hail a taxi, tell the guy where I wanted to go, and he just refused to go. He'd roll up the window and drive off. And this might happen 6 times before I managed to find someone who would agree to take me. It was really, really annoying. On the first trip to Bangkok this year, I went with my family, and my daughter, who is a lot older now, had the Grab app on her phone. And we started to use that, and it was fantastic. The app works very, very well. It tells you exactly when your taxi will arrive. The cars are in good condition, good drivers, you feel safe. And when you order a taxi, it tells you exactly how much it will cost. You know that, the driver knows that, so there's no overcharging of foreigners. When I discovered how good the Grab app was, I downloaded it to my own phone, and I've been using it quite a lot since, including my subsequent trips to Bangkok. If you're planning on going to Bangkok, I would highly recommend downloading the Grab app. The other big change this year was that I've started using the Bangkok subway. I've known about it ever since it opened, but I've never actually used it. And where we were staying on the first trip this year was right next door to Hua Kwang station, and where we needed to get to was very near to Prat Ram Gao station, just 2 stops away. So instead of getting into another notorious Bangkok traffic jam, it just made sense to go 2 stops on the MRT, and I was very, very impressed. The trains and stations are immaculate. There's not a single piece of litter or graffiti anywhere. You can't say that if you've been on the London or New York subways. When we were there was a special promotion. I think we only paid 20 baht for the fare. That promotion has ended now. The fare has gone back up, but it's still very reasonable. People using the MRT are extremely polite and respectful. As trains come in and the doors open, people wait for the passengers to get off the train before they try to get on. Even in supposedly civilised countries like Singapore, you don't see that. In Singapore, as you try to get off the train, you get shoulder charged by 80-year-old Chinese aunties who are trying to get ahead of everyone else to get any available seats. I used to stay at the Ibis Styles Khao San Road quite a lot, and I really liked that hotel. And then one day it just disappeared and I didn't know where it had gone. I found out later that it's now called the Tinny Trendy Hotel. It's no longer Ibis Styles. But because I like that hotel so much, I tried to find another Ibis Styles. And for our first trip we stayed at the Ibis Styles in Ratchada. And unfortunately it just wasn't the same. I wasn't impressed at all. It was okay, and it was very convenient being located right next door to the MRT station, but it's not really a hotel that I liked. Because I was so impressed with the MRT on my first trip, when it came to booking a hotel on the second trip, I looked for a hotel near a station on the Blue Line, and I came across the Montian, which I didn't know anything about. When I got to the hotel, it blew me away. I avoid very cheap and very expensive hotels in Bangkok. I just stick to the mid-range. And I've been to many mid-range hotels and not been impressed at all. This one was the best hotel I've ever stayed at in Bangkok. And it wasn't actually that expensive. I've stayed in far more expensive hotels and just haven't been impressed at all. The room was fantastic, the service, the decor, the breakfast, and it is full of artwork by a famous Thai artist called Phaiboon Suwannakut. I can't wait to stay there again, and it's a hotel that I highly recommend. On the third trip to Bangkok, I took my lad to see Songkhla FC promoted to Thailand's second division. The game was in the Rangsit area of Bangkok, so I looked for a hotel just north of Don Mueang Airport. I found one. It wasn't that cheap, but it was absolutely terrible, so I won't talk about it. But it just goes to show that paying more for a hotel doesn't necessarily mean it will be a better hotel. The hotel on my fourth visit was the quirkiest hotel I've ever stayed in. I went to Bangkok to meet friends who were on vacation from Canada. They were staying in the Chinatown area and I wanted a hotel nearby. I couldn't find anything I liked until I saw this place, the Loi La Long. It's a 100-year-old teak house that was converted into a hotel around 12 years ago. There are many hotels located near the river, but this one actually sits above the river. Its foundations are concrete posts that go into the riverbed. From within the hotel, you can hear water lapping against the riverbank underneath. It's susceptible to flooding, and there was a flood a couple of years ago. But don't worry, the hotel has good supplies of life buoys and life jackets. You will find life jackets in your wardrobe instead of the customary slippers and bathrobe. There is no restaurant as such. There is a small kitchen galley where breakfast is cooked, and I think they serve meals during the daytime. While in the hotel, it feels just like being on a boat without actually being on a boat. There are only 6 rooms. It's certainly not the ultimate in comfort or luxury, but it's cosy, has lots of character, and it's quite unique. You have to walk through temple grounds to get to it, and the location is within easy walking distance of Chinatown. So, based on my Bangkok travels this year, I'm very happy to recommend the Montian if you want a very classy hotel for a reasonable price, or the Loi La Long if you are looking for something that is very different to anywhere else. The only thing that really excites me about going to Bangkok these days is food. There are just so many more food options compared to the Thai provinces. I love bagels. My wife bakes them occasionally when she has time, but not very often, and they're difficult to find where I live. There are several places in Bangkok where bagels are available. On my second visit this year, I tried 2 men bagels in Saladang, and the bagels were fantastic. I recommend the restaurant highly. I'll put links below for all of the places I mentioned in this video. When I took my lad to watch football, he wanted a burger. I did a search and found Fatty's Bar and Diner. It's run by Matthew Fisher from Wisconsin, who is a musician and a really nice guy. The restaurant serves typical American diner food, and because it's run by an American, the food is very authentic. There's a great menu and the food is fantastic. On my last visit to Bangkok, I took both my son and daughter. Our first stop from the airport was Fatty's, but I didn't call ahead, and unfortunately it was closed due to a problem in the kitchen. We went to another burger restaurant nearby, but the food was nowhere near as good and it was more expensive. Fatty's is a really great place. I've been on a quest this year to find good Mexican food in Bangkok. It's been a struggle. On the first attempt, I found a random place on Google Maps. It was in a shopping mall, but I can't remember the name of the restaurant or the mall. The food was awful. To make things worse, I was then handed a bill for almost 3,000 baht for 4 people, which is ridiculous for Thailand. I can eat very well locally with my family for around 1,000 baht. A lot of restaurants in Bangkok are expensive, but then they also add extra charges for service and VAT. This never happens where I live. When I stayed at the Montion, there was a Mexican place nearby called Sunrise Tacos. It was a lot cheaper than the previous place, and the food was actually better, but it was along the lines of Taco Bell. Finally, on my most recent trip to Bangkok, I did actually find some good Mexican food. The restaurant was called Ola Thai Tapas Bar and Cafe, located near to the Grand Palace and Wat Pol. It's very small, but with a great atmosphere. The service and food were exceptional, and it was reasonably priced. Despite being near to a huge tourist area, it wasn't packed with tourists, which was a big relief. This is another place that I'm very happy to recommend. When friends or family visit Thailand, I feel kind of responsible for making sure they have a good time. But it's always difficult. My friends had a one-day guided tour on their first day, where they were taken to Wat Pol and Wat Trimit, but not the Grand Palace. I thought they should see the Grand Palace because it is very impressive. After that, I thought they might like to see a floating market. I visited Damnern Saduak in 2004, but wasn't impressed. It came across as a huge tourist trap. In 2013, I visited Ampawar floating market and much preferred it, so that's where I took them. We were fortunate enough to hire an excellent driver, and on the way to Ampawar, he suggested stopping off at the famous Mare Klong Railway Market. I know that this place is a huge tourist trap, but I've never been before, and I thought my friends might enjoy it. It's a long way from Bangkok and not worth the trip if you are only going to see the train, but it's worth stopping off if you are going to Ampawar. And now for my thoughts on Bangkok in 2025. I visited Bangkok as a tourist between 1987 and 2002. Since 2003, I've been visiting Bangkok fairly regularly as an expat. I always used to love Bangkok because it was so Asian and so unlike anything I was used to in the West. For several years now, Bangkok has been developed at a rapid pace. And as it has become more developed, it has become more westernised. Parts of Bangkok now are much more like modern Singapore than traditional Thailand. This saddens me, but it's not all bad. Transport is much better these days, and the choice of restaurants is amazing. In addition, because Bangkok is so big, you can always find little pockets of old Bangkok if you search hard enough. For me nowadays, I don't enjoy visiting Bangkok as much as I used to, but it's still fun. If you've never been to Bangkok, you should certainly try to visit. Not only has the city changed, but I have also changed. After living in Thailand for a long time, the novelty has worn off, and what was once exciting is now fairly mundane. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching.